Welcome back to CFP Nation. I am your host, Nino Brown. I got my guy, Mr. Get It Done, aka D-Now. And when you see us on the screen, you already know what time it is. It's time for that Devy Darling. But first, I got D-Now. How we doing tonight?
I'm doing a lot better now. I'm super excited to talk about this guy. I don't think there's enough hype around him, even though he's shown some flashes this year. So I'm really excited.
I'm excited too. I got, I like at the end we're going to talk about our player comps, but I got a couple questions when we start breaking down um, his time at Houston, and then we might be diving into a little headbutt here, but we're gonna have to break it down. We're gonna talk about him. This guy, this Devy Darling we got is a Houston Cougar, Mathew Golden, 6 foot, 190 pounds. He was the number 25 ranked wide receiver in the 2020 class. Okay, coming out of Houston, Texas, so he stayed home. Multi-sport athlete, played football, obvious, but he also was a track and field guy. I know D now likes that track and field aspect of these players. So,
Absolutely.
talk to me a little bit about Mathew Golden.
All right. So in 2021, his senior year, he averaged 118 yards per game and a touchdown. Uh, 2020, his junior year, he was Texas District 15 6A Special Teams Player of the Year. So he's just a special team stud because anytime you win an award in Texas, you
Yeah,
know you're really good.
yeah, you're the
Um,
dude.
his in track and field, he does long jump and 100 meters dash. Long jump, he jumped 22 feet. So he's got that explosiveness. And then in the 100-meter, he ran a 10.93 100. Blazing fast.
I know you a track guy, so there's a
Yeah.
level, there's levels to this. That's what they say. So I know
Yes.
once it checks off on yours, I'm good, right? It works for me. You know what I mean? So uh, he went to Klein Kane High School in Houston, Texas. Now, listen, he's a wide receiver, okay, and the guy's got speed. But this kid in 3 years had over 200 touches. Like that's a lot of wear and tear in high school, and you were doing your thing. So, as a wide receiver, he carried the ball 22 times for 112 yards, 4 touchdowns. Special teams guy, stud wide receiver, kid can score out the backfield as well. So, talk to me about his wide receiver stats at Klein High School, and we're going to break them down a little after that.
Yeah. So in 2019, started as a sophomore. He had 11 games, 50 receptions, about 800 yards, 13 touchdowns, and he averaged 19.4 yards per catch. Ridiculous.
Yeah.
So he followed it up his junior year, 10 games, only 43 receptions, but he cracked that 1,000-yard mark, 1,027 yards, 7 touchdowns. He averaged 24 yards per catch and had almost 103 yards per game.
Dumb. It's just dumb numbers.
Yeah.
On less receptions. Like
that's where that under 1,100-meter dash comes in.
Yeah, breakaway baby. I wonder what his yak was that year. It had to be something probably like
It had to
600
be
yards.
stupid.
Stupid, yeah.
So then his senior year, he played 12 games, 74 receptions, over 1,000 yards. This year, or that year, he cracked 1,400 yards receiving, brought the touchdowns back up, double digits with 12, averaged 19 yards per catch, but averaged 118 yards per game.
Yeah, that's just dumb numbers.
Grown man numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then but he's got special return, like we said. He had 18 returns for almost 800 yards. That's 40 yards an attempt. Like,
yeah.
you're pretty
That's
much putting him on the other side of the field almost every
oh
time you
yeah,
get the ball. You know what I mean? Like,
instantly flipping the field.
yeah, that's just crazy. Like, we're gonna break down some of his attributes here. And what I saw, this guy's jiffy in an instant, twitched up. He can create separation. One move, 1 foot move, one shake. He's already got you. Uh, Smooth up and down speed like a Porsche. When this dude's shifting gears, where he's going from first to third or third to first, it's smooth in and out. No, there's no lull. There's no like stutter. He's got it. He's smooth like country cock butter, baby, with them transitions. Smooth them out, in and out, easy peasy, like Sunday or Saturday morning in his case. They be yelling on the field, get the stretcher, because my man stretches the field with ease. Like I said, just his numbers alone, he can 30% in the slot, 60% out in the out wide. He can play any way you really want him. 6 foot, get them 50-50 balls. He's a great guy for contested catches, and he makes that back shoulder catch with ease. He's got them late hands, flash him at the end, just tracks the ball well. So what do you like about him?
Yeah. So what I like about him, he uses his track skills on the football field.
Yeah.
He uses that sprinter start, gets vertical really quick.
Yep.
His first couple steps, he's behind the DBs like that. He's a footwork Freddy. He's got better footwork than Usher, which is saying something because we all know how Usher does it. Um, and like you said, he's an alpha. He can play outside, burn you 50-50 balls. You slide him in the slot, he's going to cook that middle of the field, just tear you up that way.
you know it, I hate to be a guy that says this because I'm not saying it about Clayton Tune, okay? But I said it about Kenny Pickett with Joe Nyson. But Clayton Tune had the benefit of having Tank Dell and this gentleman last year, okay? And both of those guys are similar. Tank Dell just a little bit smaller, but they're shifty, quick. They literally can catch anything anywhere on the field. Um, Again, I think Golden sees a guy this year that's similar to the, not how Dell plays, but how he can move. You know what I mean? He's a little bit bigger than Dell. But we're gonna talk about it in Houston. Last year with Tank Dell there, that guy played in 11 games, right? Only had 38 receptions, almost 600 yards, 7 touchdowns, 15.4 yards per catch. This is what I like though. 230 yak. You look at almost half my man's yards came after the catch. Dog, right? He did that with Tank Dell there. Now, was it a product of Tank stretching the field and giving him one on ones? Maybe. Or was that he's just good enough to do it? Now, this year, right, in 5 games, there's 24 receptions already. So he's only 14 off what he had last year. So he's going to surpass that, right? 261 yards, 4 touchdowns. This guy, I think he's going to surpass the 7 touchdowns from last year. He's only at 10.9 yards per catch with Sammy Brown there. Sammy Brown's got 34 receptions for 500 yards, right? But on the flip side, my man, out of the 261, it's 137 yak, right? Got 8 contested catches. He's got an A dot of almost 10. So he's still doing his thing. New QB, new receivers around him. They're going to work out. Well, when it comes crunch time, so what I've seen, Sam Houston game, right? The UTSA game, when they needed it, they were going with Mathew Golden. What are your
Mhm.
thoughts here on him?
Yeah, so this year he's kind of, I don't want to sound too critical, but it's kind of been up and down this
Yeah,
year. Week one, Texas Tech, Power Five school. First game being the guy.
yeah,
Kind of struggled. 2 receptions, 17 yards. Week two, though, he started hitting his groove. 14 targets. He had 9 receptions, almost 100 yards, a touchdown, averaged 10.2 yards per catch. And then TCU, which is when I actually noticed him. He had 9 targets, 4 receptions, 56 yards. But what caught my eye were the
yeah,
3 returns for 132 yards and a touchdown, um, including that one we saw on ESPN the following Sunday.
yeah,
Week four, he had 10 targets, 5 receptions, 60 yards, 2 touchdowns. And then, like you said, week five against UTSA, when they needed him, they
yeah.
found him. He had 4 receptions, only 36 yards, but he had that touchdown when they needed it. So,
Yeah, like I said, he's getting targeted. I mean, you look at weeks 2, 3, and 4. You're looking at 20, 33 targets. I mean, so he's getting targeted. Yeah, it's
mhm.
almost 10 targets a game. He's had a little bit of issues first 3 games with drops, but the last 2 weeks he's cleaned that up. So I wonder if maybe we'll start to see the switch now coming down the next 5 or 6 games. If he's starting to be the guy that's targeted more than Mr. Brown, maybe confidence on
Yeah,
these drop
very
balls
well could be.
could switch it around. I did little research. I was looking at guys and I'm like, who does this guy remind me of? Statures kind of similar to him. I think Cooks probably has a better route tree than Golden at the moment, but they got that speedy type to him. So for right now, for me, player comp that I have for Matthew Golden is Brandon Cooks, and I say that because Brandon Cooks has never really been an alpha. I think he's been an alpha by default, right? The Rams, he was an alpha by default. Houston, he was an alpha by default. I think this is the year that he's supposed to be probably in his best position where he's in the slot and he's got an alpha outside of him where he can draw one-on-ones, but he couldn't stay healthy this year, so he hasn't really played much. But I feel like Golden could be the alpha if you needed him to be, but he also could be one hell of a number two on a team. And I love his game. I like his athleticism. And for some reason, Houston just been turning out these real twitched out, speedy receivers, and I'm
Yes.
here for it. So who's your comp, my man?
So my comp is actually two. They
Okay.
happen to be teammates. I think he's more of a mixture of Stedman Bailey and with a little bit of Tavon Austin. And I say that because Stedman Bailey wasn't a very tall guy. I think he was like 5'10".
Yeah.
He was a little heavier, but he was twitchy just like
Yeah.
Golden is. Wasn't afraid to go across the middle. Could be that alpha, but they also slid him more into the slot
Yep.
his time in West Virginia. And then Tavon Austin solely for the return aspect.
Yeah.
When Austin was in college at West Virginia or his early years, when he touched the ball on a return,
Electric.
he was just
Yeah.
electric. Yeah.
Yeah. The only reason I think he still has a long people are interested. We just seen. I think Seattle was thinking about bringing him in or something. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's because they know, yes, he can catch the ball, but there's a chance that you can put him in a special teams and he can flip the field real quick. Um,
Yep.
those are things like guys like Dante Hall and Devin Hester that I loved. It was like, why would you kick the ball to these guys? Right? They just don't risk it.
Exactly.
They're that
Yeah.
good at what they do. But this is why we believe Matthew Golden has the chance and the possibility to be a Devy Darling. Will he answer that bell when the opportunity comes knocking? We will see. There's still some games left. I'm Nino Brown. That's my partner in crime, Mr. Get It Done, aka Dino. This is Devy Dollins on CFB Nation.